Welcome back, guys. It's another week of workouts ahead of us here. We are going to tackle all upper body this week. So I hope you guys are all caught up on last week's videos and that you are using the bingo card and that you are attacking every workout with everything you've got. So today we're going to do a new warm-up. It'll be the same warm-up we use every single day, but all new. We're going to use reverse lunges first, 10 on each side, single leg V-ups, 10 on each side, and then we're going to finish it off with alternating Supermans, 10 on each side. We'll go through that 3 times, and then we're gonna hop into our workout. So for the warm-up, you don't need any equipment besides a mat or something soft to lay on. Carpeting is fine if that's what you prefer. Maybe put a towel out so you don't stick to it or whatever. And then for the workout, things you're gonna need this week, we are gonna incorporate a Bosu. So if you don't have one, it might be something you should look into. Take a look down in the description. We'll have a link to one, but don't worry, you also don't have to have it. We're using the Bosu this week because we're doing so much upper body work and we are ignoring our lower body a little bit. So we're adding it in for a little bit of stimulation for our lower body for balance. You could use a stability pad or you can use nothing. So it's not a necessity, but it's such a great functional item to have at home. We really recommend that you get one. And then you're gonna need your same resistance, dumbbells or kettlebells, whatever you would like. And you will also need a medicine ball. If you don't have one, you can modify to using a dumbbell. You are gonna want skills sliders. Again, if you don't have them, you could use a towel. But all of this equipment is linked down in the description. So take a look at it before you get started, gather all your things, and then let's go after it. All right?
Do it. Let's do it.
Let's go, day one. Less to trim off.
How much?
1, 2.
Hi, you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, ready. It's like, I don't know what to say to that. All right, guys, let's get started with our warm-up here today. So, reverse lunges, single leg V-ups, and alternating Supermans. We're gonna work through 3 rounds of that. Everything's in 10 reps a side. We're just gonna crank it out. Remember, you should get warm as you go. So their depth might get deeper on your reverse lunges. Your speed might get faster as you get warmed up. Don't try to jump into this full-blown. It's a warm-up for a reason, okay? So reverse lunges will stay on the same leg. We're gonna do 10 on each leg. Remember that that front leg is your anchor. So you're really sitting into that hip. You're sitting into the midfoot, straight down through your laces, waking up those glutes, hamstrings, and quads. Switching sides. All right, we're gonna go down flat on our backs for single leg V-ups. So Andy and Jane are gonna show opposite ways to do the exercise. Andy's got a little more higher level, pulling her back all the way up off the ground, keeping her leg nice and straight. Jane is taking a slight modification here, bending her knee as she pulls it in, keeping the majority of her back flat on the ground and only pulling her shoulder up off. Remember, it's 10 aside. You want to focus on the core. So before you lift that leg, before you lift that arm, your core should be braced. It should be nice and tight, engaged, so it performs the motion. If we're loose and relaxed, you're likely to recruit a lot of back. Next up is alternating Supermans. So we're flat on our stomach, our feet, our opposite hand and leg are lifting up off the ground, alternating sides as you go. So left arm, left leg, or right arm, right leg. Big key here is this is posterior chain activation. A lot like a swimmer, so we really need to think about squeezing our hamstrings, squeezing our glutes, keeping our core moderately engaged, and trying to lift from our shoulder, as opposed to trying to lift or throw from from using entirely our lower back. The girls are doing a good job of keeping their eyes orientated more towards the ground so they don't get that big chin up and aggravate the neck. So we're back up for reverse lunges, 10 aside here. Oh shoot. it doesn't really matter if you guys prefer alternating at home. Our structure is to stay on the same side, really focus the movement pattern on waking up that muscle. So alternating, sometimes I think that we can miss out on getting those muscles to activate. So specifically here, waking up our glutes and our hamstrings to lift us out of the bottom. But it does generally yield a little bit more fatigue. All right, onto those backs, single leg V up. So maybe you started with that modified approach and you went with a bent knee. Now we've got Jane still staying in a modified position, keeping most of her back on the ground, but she's actually going with a straight leg now. So a little bit harder. It's a middle step between where Jane is, or was in the last round, and where Annie has been. So another good option to use either as you get warmed up, or just as a starting point, as opposed to working where Annie is right now. So remember, 10 aside, and we're gonna flip over to our bellies. For those of you that can. So alternating Supermans, squeeze your glutes. I can't say it enough. Think about moving from your shoulder, not throwing from your back. You're trying to move your shoulder into a little bit of retraction here and lifting it off the ground. You're not trying to throw your low back and lift your whole chest off the ground. That'll put a ton of load into the low back when we only want a little. We want that load to actually go all the way up to our shoulders. So we're getting posterior shoulder activation and not just low back work. 20 total, 10 on each side. So we're doing a nice tempo here, guys. We're not going crazy fast, a slight pause to feel those muscles work. Otherwise, why are we doing it? Just running through the motions. All right, last round here, guys, reverse lunges. So kind of running through that checklist in your head, guys. Is my foot flat on the ground? Is my weight nice and even through my foot? Is my core engaged? Am I staying level at my shoulders? Keeping my posture upright? You want to be able to say yes to all of those on every single rep, which I know seems like a lot, but once you just get into a routine, it becomes much easier to remember because it becomes second nature. All right, flat on your back, guys. Last set of single leg V-ups. So if you were following the modification and you feel great and you're ready for a little bit more, try working with Annie right here and getting all the way up off your back. If you are predisposed to any low back pain or maybe you just have a weaker core, stay with Jane here and use the flat back modification or even the flat back and bent knee modification. After 10 on each side, we're going over to our bellies, finishing up our warm-up here. Oh yes, feeling that core work.
Good burn.
It's good. We always want to wake up our core muscles. They're so essential to movement. They are our foundation. So in our core, meaning not just our abdominals, but also the posterior of our core, right, of our center point here. So low back, glutes, posterior shoulder blades, posterior shoulder in general. You will notice Jane is pretty high up off the ground from her chest, just to give you guys a little bit of perspective. Jane has a lot more extension in her low back than Annie does. It's a natural position in her spine, and it's a tendency that she has from years of powerlifting. So she's not overreaching here, although she looks like she could be. So remember that you want to work where you are, as opposed to where someone else is. Okay guys, so now we're nice and warmed up. We're gonna go grab our equipment, you grab yours, and we're gonna come back for our first round of workouts.
Woohoo!
Let's get started with round one. So the exercises have really long names, guys, so I'm not gonna run them down right now, but know that we have 6 exercises and each one is gonna be 1 minute long. So we're gonna start on our Bosu with our dumbbells. So go ahead, get on there with 2 feet, This is a bent over row on your hand. We're rowing right in towards those hips at a nice even pace, all right? So I want you guys to focus on shoulder blade retraction, pinching your shoulder blades, pulling those weights somewhere between your hips and your rib cage, all right? Let's keep a nice neutral neck, so try not to continuously hold your head up looking at us. Keep your gaze towards the ground. So we're 30 seconds in. Your back should be catching up a little bit. I know I can feel my posterior shoulders here. Let's make sure that your core is engaged, so you're not arching in your back or sticking your butt out a ton. In about 10 seconds, we're actually going to switch to an isometric split squat. So this one is off the Bosu in 3, 2, and break. You only need one weight, so go ahead and put one weight down. You're going to go single leg, opposite to the leg that's forward. Other weight is loaded up towards your side and the palm is rotated forwards. So a wide press here. We're going to do 30 seconds on each side. So the depth, how deep you hold your stance, is entirely up to you. It's up to you in terms of how tired your legs are, how much you want to get out of it. 3, 2, and we're going to switch sides. Remember, it's a wide press, so you're keeping your palm facing forward the entire time. Core is nice and tight. Really putting all this work right into our shoulder here. A little bit of isometric work on our lower body. And we're switching in 3, 2, and break. You're gonna grab your medicine ball. So we are gonna do side slams. So this means that you're gonna bring the ball around from the side, overhead, and then throw towards the floor. So if you don't have a medicine ball, you can go ahead and do what I'm doing. And we're bringing our weight up and around, and then coming down in front, alternating every side. So for you, the big work is on the raise. It is not on the lower. About 20 seconds left, guys. You should feel your shoulders. You should feel a little bit of core from throwing towards the ground. We've got 7 seconds here, and we are going to switch to some core work here. And take a break. We're going to do a V-sit hold. So go ahead and lay down on the ground, or sit down on the ground. You are going to get that balance right on your tailbone. If you should need for a modification, if your low back starts to bother you, I'm just gonna have you lean back right into your elbows and take a little bit of a break. Now, if you needed something that was more challenging, you can opt to straighten your legs and pull them straight up out ahead of you, all right? The longer your legs are, the harder it's gonna be on your core. So maybe, now that we're over 30 seconds, maybe this is something you wanna do. If not, go ahead and bend your knees and stay in that tighter tuck that shortens your lever and keeps a little bit less work on your core. Maybe it's something you'll vary by round. It's up to you. We've got 10 more seconds here, guys. And then we're gonna go back on our Bosu for a bent over wide row. 3, 2, and break. So we're standing back up. On that Bosu with 2 feet. This time our palms are going to face towards the wall behind you, hinged forward again, pinching those shoulder blades, keeping those arms at a nice 90 degree as you pull up, pinching your shoulder blades. So you should notice here, guys, a little bit more work in the upper back. You should feel a little bit more around those shoulder blades, or your shoulder head. It's like around the cuff of your shoulder. But you still should feel a ton of work between your shoulder blades. Just make sure that you're controlling that weight in both directions. You've got 10 seconds left, guys. We are gonna go to a wall next here. 5 seconds, you'll only need one of your weights. And take a break. stepping off that Bosu. Grab one weight and go back to a wall. We're gonna get in a nice wall sit formation here, so the deeper you go, the harder it is. And we're just doing a front raise with our weight. So starting down between your legs, making sure that your back and head is against the wall. We're gonna raise straight up to 90, come right down to your hips. So remember, this is for time. So if you go super fast, then you get tons of reps. But you really want to avoid burning out and having to stop while you're doing the workout. So please keep a nice tempo that you feel like you can maintain. Whether that's faster than us, the same as us, or slower than us, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you stay moving and you keep your form in good quality condition. 5 seconds here. We are going to go back to the Bosu and break. You're going to need both of your weights now. So we're still standing on 2 feet. We're going to do an alternating shoulder press. So go ahead and load both arms above your head, palms facing in. We're going to alternate one arm lowers and presses while the other one holds a lockout. So something to give some consideration to in this position is what your lower body's doing. Please don't stand with your knees totally locked out, regardless of whether you're on the Bosu or you're on the ground. Just keep a little bit of a bend and be really aware of what your core is doing. We want a nice tight core supporting this overhead hold. Right? Without the tight core, you're likely to arch your back and then end up with a little bit of low back discomfort, whether that's during the workout, at the end of the workout, or maybe even later today or tomorrow. 3, 2, and break. There you guys have it. That's round 1. I know I feel my shoulders and my back a little bit. Hopefully you guys too. We're going to get some water and we'll come right back. All right, guys, we are going to get started here with round 2. So we're back on the Bosu for bent over rows, underhand grip. Go ahead and hinge forward, pinching at those shoulder blades, palms facing towards the TV or towards us on the camera. And you guys are focusing on keeping a nice tight core, keeping your gaze pointed towards the ground, and keeping the back nice and flat, all right? So you guys can take a look, lift your head up real quick, and take a look at Jane and Andy this round. They're giving us a nice angled view of their back, so you can really see how they're maintaining core posture and keeping their back nice and flat or neutral through the whole movement pattern. Remember that our knees are bent slightly, getting some nice stability work and a little extra core work from being on an unstable surface on our Bosu. This one I think always feels the longest. First one, so 3, 2, and break. So remember, this is our split stance, so we only need one weight here. We're going one leg forward, one leg back, wide grip, so palms facing forward. And we are pressing down to about up above our head and down to about ear height. Keeping our core super tight, making sure that we're not extending in our back. And you are in control of how deep you go. We're going to switch here in 3, 2, switch those arms. So if you're feeling really good, you can sink down lower into a deeper split lunge. If you are feeling like you're a little tired and you're going to really crush cardio workout tomorrow, maybe you stand up a little bit and sit just a little bit tired, a little bit higher up. Whatever feels right for you. Remember, you're working at your pace. 3, 2, and break. Good. All right, we're back on the med ball slams. So again, if you don't have a med ball, follow me here. We're doing circular overhead raises, controlling back down into the front. If you are using a med ball, follow Jane and Annie. And remember that you do want to give that a pretty good throw at the ground from your core. Keep that core nice and engaged. Feel yourself use your core to throw that ball at the ground. So hopefully you're on your tempo. want to go faster, slower, or stay right with us, there's no rep counts. You're just switching whenever we do. You can't mess up here. That's the good news. We've got about 8 seconds, and we're going to go to a little V-sit hold here. 3, 2, and break. All right, let's take a seat down on the floor. We're holding in that V-sit. So a few other ideas here. If you would like to challenge yourself, or maybe you need some modifications, you are welcome to place those hands under your hips or behind your thighs if you need to give yourself a little bit of support. You just want to be careful. Don't make it too easy on yourself and hold yourself there the whole time. So you got to push yourself. We can't be there to watch you, but pain is something we really want to avoid, especially low back pain. You want that workload in your core. You might feel your quads, you might feel your hip flexors. It's totally okay. Those are normal, they're cooperative muscle groups. It just means in this position, they are turning on a little bit more to keep you stable or hold that actual position. We got about 7 seconds here, guys, and we are gonna go back on our Bosu. 3, 2, and take a break. So we're gonna grab both weights here. Bent over wide row. So now we're gonna keep our palms facing towards the back wall or to behind you. Hinge forward, core tight, pinch those shoulder blades as you row those weights up wider, trying to match your wrist to your elbow location. All right? Think about pinching from your shoulder blades versus bending from your elbows. So if you guys don't have a Bosu and you're not on one, the Bosu adds a whole stability element that requires us to control the weight in both directions. So if we were to not control and start throwing it or letting it pull down, it would pull us all around on these Bosus. So they're a great functional tool. And break. Stepping off. All right. We're going to go over the wall. We only need one weight. Back into our wall sit, doing our front raises here. So remember, we're in our second round. We're almost at the end. We only have one exercise left. So if you feel like, wow, I got a lot of gas left in the tank, my shoulders are amazing, I really want to crush them, go faster, right? This is your minute to do what you want with it. So you probably will notice in the next round, we'll naturally increase our reps, just like we did in that round, a little bit more than the first. It's a good, solid progression. Keeps us from overworking or overreaching too early in the workout. Lets us really maximize our output. 6 seconds. 3, 2, and break. All right, guys, both weights now. Back on our Bosu with 2 feet. This is our overhead press. Both weights are up. We're alternating palms facing in towards your head, slight bend in your knees, and we're alternating keeping our elbow pointing forward as we lower the weight, pointing forward as we press the weight. 1 minute through here, we get a break, guys. You are halfway there. That core nice and tight. Focus on lots of control as you bring that weight down. Lots of control as you push that weight up. If your back is arching, you gotta slow down, maybe take a break, maybe bring both of those weights down. Give that low back a break. You gotta focus on keeping your core tighter, keeping those knees bent. And break, guys. That's it. Round 2 is done. Let's get a little bit of water. We'll come right back out here and finish up round 3. Woo. Let's finish up, guys, round 3 here. We are gonna start back on that Bosu, so grab your weights. We'll get right back on 2 feet, and remember this is our underhand row. So get that nice forward hinge, palms facing towards the screen, pinch those shoulder blades. Really give a lot of focus to your shoulder blades, guys. I cannot say that enough. There's no repeat button strong enough to tell you every single rep, think about your shoulder blades. Every single rep. Put a pencil back there in your head and try to grab it over and over again. The more diligent and disciplined you can be about doing that, the more effective this exercise is going to be, the more comfort you're going to have in life. Tell me you're going to stand up taller, you're going to look thinner, everything. It'll be more intimidating, right? Have that nice tall posture. We have about 10 seconds left here, guys. And remember, next exercise, we only need one weight for it. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and break. Good. Off that Bosu. We're going into our isometric split stance. So sitting down into that lunge. Palm is orientated forward. We're going into a wide palm forward press. So much like the wide row, we're trying to keep that palm right above our elbow as we bring it down and as we push it up. So we've got 30 seconds on each arm, and then we're switch sides. So here in 3, 2, switch sides. Feeling like you got a lot of gas in the tank, guys. Sit deeper. Sit deep into that split lunge. Really challenge your core, challenge your legs, challenge your shoulders. If you're having any back discomfort, think about flipping those hips under, squeezing that core. 3, 2, and break. Med ball slam. So we got that med ball. Watch my two friends here. No med ball. We're working with one weight, nice and high, controlling that way back down. So we're working a little bit of that slow eccentric control on our way back down to the front. A big concentric workload on our rotation to the side. We have only 20 seconds left, guys. This is a fun one. Can really get that heart rate up nice and high. So if you've got gas left, start burning it out. Crank those reps out. Really throw that ball. Speed up the time between the two of them. 5 seconds. And break. Good job, guys. We are going to the floor here. We have a V-sit hold. So we've got 60 seconds holding here. Remember that we make it harder by straightening our legs. We make it easier by resting our palms or our elbows into the ground. If you're having any low back discomfort, please, please, please rest your elbows into the ground. I cannot say it enough. When you rest your elbows into the ground, you'll be able to create a little bit more of a crunch. You'll be able to keep those abdominals turned on versus slipping into extension and putting so much more load into the low back. Low back pain is not something we mess around with. We talk about it always. Always give you modifications. Shame on you if you don't take them. 10 seconds, guys, and we're standing up and heading over to our Bosu. 3, 2, and break. Those two had enough of that. So wide row, guys. Remember, our palms are going to face towards the wall behind us, or whatever object is behind you, and we're pulling out. So we're trying to keep those palms relatively in line with our elbows, creating a nice wide ending position on the row. Remember, we're using a lot of control. Even though we're trying to work at a faster pace here, we want to control those dumbbells as they lower back down to the ground. We're keeping our back flat by keeping our core tight. The back cannot stay flat without a tight core. Got about 10 seconds left here, guys. Control, control, control. 5 seconds. We're heading over to the wall in 3, 2, and break. Good work. Woo. Remember, you only need one weight. Get down into that wall sit. If you feel like you've got gas left, Get deep down into that wall sit. Burn out those shoulders with tons of raises here. You only have one exercise left. It is a shoulder exercise, which is a doozy right after this. But that's it, then you're done for the day. So really, you want to spend it while you can. I mean, you're gonna spend that energy right now. Use up your fuel, use up everything you got left here. About 20 seconds. Just make sure that you're not sacrificing anything, right? So make sure that you're staying flat against that wall. Make sure that you're keeping your head back. Your core is tight. Your heels are down in this wall sit. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and break. Good work. So we are going back on the Bosu, 2 feet. Last exercise of the day. If you're like me, you're gonna get your Bosu straight. We're pressing both weights overhead, palms facing in, slight bend in our knees, super tight core, alternating, pressing one while holding that overhead position from the other arm. Remember, as we said before, if you're feeling your low back, bend your knees. Bend your knees, squeeze your glutes and your core, tuck those hips under a little bit. If that's not helping, bring both weights down and do your presses from here, right? Give yourself a little bit of a break. 15 seconds. Make sure you're keeping that opposite arm nice and straight. Feeling that huge shoulder burn right now. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and break. Woo. Woo. Okay, so if you guys feel anything like we do, those shoulders are toast right now. Okay, that's day 1 of week 2 of our 5-week program. You guys did it, you're done. If you're playing catch up on last week's videos, it's all lower body, so you could do 2 in one day. That's pretty fun, right? If you're caught up with us, we've got cardio tomorrow, so check out those downloadable programs. Make sure you comment on the video so we know you did it. Tag us in your posts, and keep having fun. Woo-hoo! Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh man.
Good.
So happy that's the only one we're doing.